I'm going to show you a step-by-step system of how to systematize your life and become the CEO of your life. And it's all based off this book, The 4 Disciplines of Execution. And if you haven't read this book, highly, highly recommend it. It is a must. This is the exact formula of how big Fortune 500 companies systematize their business to grow and scale. And you can use this same structure to systematize your own life and become the CEO of your own life. So today I'm going to walk you through each of the 4 disciplines, and then I'm going to show you exactly how to apply it to your goals and the things that you're trying to accomplish to make it easier so you can make more progress. My name is Jarvis, and I'm the Morning Hero. I help people systematize their life and get better results by showing them how to maximize their time so they can maximize their impact. You can go to themorninghero.com and get more information on that. And you can also, see that little red icon there? Yeah, that thing right there. Go ahead and just pet it a little bit. Maybe even tap it. That way you'll get notified every time I go live, because I do this every day, where I just help give tips, tricks, and strategies on how to maximize your life. So speaking of maximizing your life, how do you become the CEO of your life? Now, this book, The 4 Disciplines of Execution, gives a 4-step process that every big business, big enterprise needs to have in place to make sure they're very clear on the direction they're going and they're tracking their progress and that they're actually moving things forward. Now, the great thing about this system is that you could actually do it yourself. You don't need to be a big enterprise or a big company. You can do it for your own life and for your own goals and for the things that you're trying to pursue. You essentially can CEO your life using the same 4-step formula. And so I'll quickly go through the 4 steps, and then I'll break each one down and then give you an actual real world application of how it can apply to you. So the 4 steps are: the first one is identifying your big goal. The second one is identifying the lead measures. The third one is creating your scoreboard. And the fourth one is creating an accountability system of execution. So those are the 4 disciplines of execution. And again, this is the same thing that Apple uses, the same thing that Google uses, the same thing that you're going to use so you can get better results in your own goals. So the first one is identifying your WIG. Your WIG stands for your wildly important goal. I like to call it the big WIG, your big, wild, important goal. And they give a really clear formula of how to create your WIG. So your goal should be quantifiable first and foremost. And the reason it needs to be quantifiable is because you have to have a way to measure it. Just saying a goal like, I want to have more love in my life. That's an ambition. That's not really a goal because it's too ambiguous. You can't really measure love. Now, there needs to be a way for you to quantify it. So maybe instead of saying I want more love in my life, maybe it's I want to go on 20 date nights this month, or that's a lot in a month, right? 20 date nights this year. But you need some way to quantify it, and quantifying it means that you have to have a number to it. And when there's a number to it, now you can measure it. And if you can't measure it, you can't really see if you're making progress, and you don't know if you hit the goal if there's no way to measure it. So you need a way to quantify your goals so that it can be measured. So income is a good way to quantify it, but it doesn't have to be income. It could be number of transactions, number of new clients, percentage increase of sales over last year. Like, as long as there's a number to that goal, you can quantify it. So that's the first thing, is how can you quantify your goal? And this goes for not just income, but all your goals. For your health goal, your weight, weight is a good number, or maybe body fat percentage is the number you'd like to use. But in every area, come up with a goal that's quantifiable. And once it's quantifiable, you're going to state the goal using this format. I want to go from X to Y by when? From X to Y by when? So let's do this example. If I want to do an income goal, I want to go from making $150,000 to $250,000 per year by next year. I want to go from X to Y by when? For weight loss, I want to go from weighing 210 pounds to 195 pounds in 3 months. That might be a little unrealistic, but that's just an example. From X to Y by when? Now that when you have those three components, now you know where you're starting, where you're trying to go, and what's the deadline, what's the time frame you want to put on it. And when you have those three components, now you can actually track the goal. You can measure it and track your progress. And so that's the formula they give for how to create your wildly important goals. And I personally recommend that you have your goals in at least three categories. I like to break mine into wealth, health, and relationships. So I have a goal for my professional life. It can be, like I said, income, number of clients, number of transactions. But what's your wealth goal? Net worth is a good one. For health, weight is a good, easy metric to use for your health goal, but it doesn't have to be that. It could be body weight. It could be number of times you want to hit the gym. Some way you can measure your health goal, and then relationships. So wealth, health, and relationships are great. Kind of a great structure of how to break your goals up into the main categories of life. So that's the first one, is creating your wildly important goal. The second step then is to identify the lead measures. Now, let me explain what a lead measure is. Now, if you look at a goal, typically the goal itself is the outcome. So income, how much money you make, that's an outcome. How much you weigh, that's an outcome. Those are the results. Now, so those are called lagging measures. They lag after something else. The lead measure is, what do you do to produce the result? So for weight loss, if your weight loss is the result, what do you do to get the weight loss? That's the lead measure. It leads before the result. It's the thing that happens to get the result. So for weight loss, maybe working out more or eating less. Those are the leading measures that lead to the result that you want. For your income, if the result you want is you want more clients, the leading measure, the thing you have to do to get more clients, is probably make more cold calls or network more or do some more email marketing, right? It's the things that lead to the result. So you have to identify the one biggest lead measure to hit that goal. So this is the part where people sometimes get confused or they get overwhelmed and crowded, because there are 10 different things you can do to get a result. I remember I was coaching a guy, and he came in with his with his business plan, and it was a 27-point business plan on what he was going to do to grow his business. And the very first thing we had to do was to cross out 26 of those things. The first thing you want to do is identify what's the one thing that has the biggest impact towards the goal. That is the true lead measure. And so for each one of your goals, identify the one lead measure. Now, that's not to say that all of the other things you're not going to spend time on, but for the sake of this system, you only want to identify the one, because most of the time that one actually produces 80% of the result. And all the other ones only produce 20%. The one, though, the heaviest one, is the one that you want to focus on. So what's the one lead measure for each of your goals? And then at the third part, after you identify the lead measure, is to create a scoreboard. The scoreboard is quite simply a way that you're going to track every day if you're doing that lead measure. So for instance, if your lead measure is for your weight loss, if your lead measure is I need to work out three times a week, then you need a way to score yourself that if you're doing it. Peter Drucker, one of the world's greatest business philosophers, says that what gets measured gets improved. What that means is the minute you start measuring your performance on something, you immediately start improving it. And so one of the best ways that I measure my performance or how well I'm doing on my lead measures is you can have a little calendar. So this is a very simple approach to measuring yourself. Is I have a calendar, and every day I put an X on the calendar if I did the lead measure. Right now, one of my lead measures is going live every day. And so I know that when I go live every day, it gets my message and my voice out to the world. And the more people see my message and hear my voice, the more people come on as clients. So that's my lead measure, is how many times I go live. And every day I go live, I put an X on the calendar. And then it's a great visual representation for you to see if you are doing your lead measure. And my kind of challenge with myself is I can't have 2 days in a row where I don't have an X. And so having it laid out visually like this is easy. It's an easy physical format for you to see your scoreboard, how well you're tracking to your commitment of doing your lead measure every day. So that's the third step. Create your personal scoreboard. A little bit later, I'll show you a digital version of a scoreboard that I created using an online system, which is a great way to track yourself visually in a digital format if you're a person that prefers digital versus walking around carrying calendars and paper. But have your scoreboard where you can track, are you doing your lead measure every day? Now, the fourth, and this is the biggest one, is to create a system of accountability. Now, most people know what they need to do. You know what you already need to do for your health goal. You probably already know what you need to do for your income goal and everything else. Like anything you're trying to pursue, more than likely you already know what you need to do. Where a lot of people miss the boat is that they don't follow through and execute the plan. They have the plan. You know you should be making 10 cold calls a day. You know you should be working out and eating salads. You know you should be telling your wife or husband you love them every day. Like you know those things, but maybe you don't follow through all the time. And so the book gives a really clear format of anything you want done, you have to create accountability, because that's really the only way that you'll ensure that you'll show up and execute consistently. And so accountability requires outside pressure meaning other people. And so the minute other people are aware of what you're trying to do, now there's an accountability aspect of it. And even when you don't feel like doing the thing, you'll do it anyway because someone else is counting on you. So that's the power of accountability. It gets over our own motivation and willpower. And it's this outside force that has a stronger driving factor than our own motivation. Because our own motivation, we have highs and lows. Sometimes we feel very motivated. Other times we feel low. And when there's outside accountability, it will encourage you to rise up even when your motivation is low and your own willpower is low, where you won't just let yourself off the hook. You'll still execute. So that's what kind of how accountability works. So how can you put it in play for yourself? Well, for each one of your goals, find some way to have an accountability partner for that goal. So if you have a health and fitness goal, can you have a person meet you at the gym? Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, or whatever the time frame that you guys commit to. And now there's accountability there, right? Someone else is checking up on you, making sure that you follow through on your goal. For your professional goal, if your lead measure is that you need to make a certain amount of prospecting calls, maybe you have a partner that you guys have a competition. Who can make the most calls per week? And every week you guys have a standing appointment where you're checking in with each other, right? So in each area, where can you establish some accountability for that particular goal? In fact, that's exactly what the Morning Hero accountability program is about. We have a high performance coaching and accountability program where every day you check in with other high achievers on a Zoom call. And on that call, you have your custom built scoreboard. Everyone on the call has their own custom built scoreboard. And then on your scoreboard are your lead measures, the things that you've committed to, that you said that these are the things that I have to do, the 3 biggest things I have to do each day that's going to move my goals forward. And every day you check in and you check off the things that you did and didn't do. But the power of it is that it's a group environment. So there are other people on that same call watching and encouraging you and cheerleading for you and making sure that you're following through and executing every day. So accountability is by far the best way of ensuring that you follow through, and you'll need some way of creating an accountability structure for yourself. And either one, you can create your own structure by going out trying to find people to hold you accountable in all these different areas, or the easiest way is to just join an existing accountability structure. So there are groups like the Morning Hero that have existing accountability groups. There may be others out there that I'm not aware of. The Morning Hero by far is the best, and maybe I'm biased, but it's the best way to get accountability for each of your goals. In fact, the whole program was based off of this book, The 4 Disciplines Execution. So that's what you do when you join and become a Morning Hero. is that you identify your wigs. We come up with your lead measures. We build a custom scoreboard for you, and then you join an accountability group. It's all based on this formula of how to CEO your life. And once you get this down, I guarantee there's no goal that you won't be able to accomplish. Go ahead and click the link. There should be a link below where you can go and sign up for an info session where you can get a demo of how this structure system works. And then you can see if it's a good fit for you to CEO your life. So that's at themorninghero.com. Until we meet again, this is Jarvis, encouraging you to do more, be more, and achieve more than you ever have before. Now it's your turn, heroes. Go out there and save the world. And I'll see you in the next video.